Let's burn them, he whispered, holding her hand gently as she shook her head. Please, no. She cried and he wiped her tears. Yes, he whispered back as he's about to walk, holding her hand, but she hugged him tightly. Jungkook, please don't do that. Please listen to me. He broke the hug without saying a single word. He has no expression on his face when he held her hand before dragging her with him, while she pleaded him, but he didn't listen her. He poured the kerosene while she just watched him helplessly. Then he looked at her tears dried after crying a lot, and he stared at her coldly while her gaze fixed on those broken flames. You did not change your values after seeing my money, right? She shifted her gaze tightly on him but didn't say anything. She shifted her gaze again to those frames as he also shifts his gaze with her, and a lone tear escaped from his eyes. When he took out matchbox with his trembling hands as he shifted his gaze on her, which has tears but shrugging his emotions off, he pulled her by his wrist and Ryan walked like that corpse as he looks at her. You close the chapter, I will burn the whole book, he whispered, and Ryan has no expression on her face. It's just a tear slide from her eyes. You want to know the reason once, she whispered, and he shook his head. There is no point when you moved on, he replied coldly, as he's about to turn when Ryan held his wrist. But you are so confident that I moved on when I am not confident even after seeing you with the child. How are you, sir? She asked, and he looked at her, gulping down. Think whatever you want to think. We are not we anymore. It's Ansia, he whispered as he lightened up the matchstick. When her gaze shifted to his hand, and without thinking twice, he threw the stick on the flames, breaking her heart, and he didn't even dare to look back because he felt like he did something which he can't bear. If he looks back at those burning flames, he will collapse as anxiety rushed over his body as his eyes locked in Ryan's. And in her eyes, he can see those burning flames. He just didn't fire those photos. He felt like he burned his world entirely, which he shouldn't. I finally ended us. There is no more us. So stay happy in your life, and I will live happy in my life. He uttered as his throat hurts. You don't need to work here anymore. I won't force you for anything. Now you are free from my side, he lastly said. For this you wanted to meet me for the last time, huh? She asked like a dead corpse since he looked away with no answer. You waited 5 years to do this, she uttered, and he made feast, tightening his jaw. I broke up because, gasping with tears, he walked, leaving her shattered. As her lips trembled with pain and chest stiffened with uneasiness as she looked at those frames, but some anxiety breaking inside her as she dropped on her knees, and she felt immense pain as physical pain. She broke into tears, his anxiety taking over her, while Jungkook didn't even look back as he burst into tears, controlling hard not to cry out loud as his phone rings, but he ignored and dropped on his knees, crying, holding his head. What did I do? Why I did that, he muttered with trembling lips. He didn't have courage to look back as his phone rings continuously, but ignoring all that, he just let out all his emotion as he cried out loud, grabbing his chest until he heard. Ma'am, what are you doing? Your hands will burn. Ma'am, please. No, I can't lose them. Can't, she mumbled, panicking. As he realized it's Ryan's voice, and he finally looked back only to find her trying to take those frames out from the burning flames, and his heart dropped and eyes widened. He muttered as he got up. I can't lose them. I can't. She mumbled, panicking. When Jungkook ran towards her. Fine, don't do that. Are you crazy? He yelled out loud as she was so lost in panic and that she couldn't hear any other voice when Jungkook suddenly pulled her towards him. Are you crazy? What are you doing? He yelled. No, Jungkook, I can't lose them. Please let me go. She said, panicking while Jungkook cupped her face, tried to make her calm down. And look at me. You will hurt yourself, he calmly said while she can't hear anything. Jungkook, let me go. I don't have any memory of us. I can't lose them. They also made me burn them like this. Jungkook pulled her in his embrace, hugging her tightly. Calm down. He mumbled softly, hugging her tightly when he instructed the security guard to put out fire. That they forced me to burn our memories like this. I don't have any pictures of us. I don't. While he hugged her tightly as he kissed her back softly. Please calm down, love. Calm down. Please. He mumbled softly as he broke the hug and cupped her face. It's okay. It's okay, I'm here for you. I'm here, love. He mumbled softly while she sobbed badly. I don't have any memory of us. She sobbed, and tears slid from his eyes, looking at her condition. As she let out soft whimpers while her body is trembling badly. And she constantly repeating one thing, and when he pressed his lips on her forehead with a long fan, as he pulled her in his embrace. The water. He extended the water bottle as he took water from his hand. He broke the hug as he wiped her tears. Please calm down. He whispered softly and she choked her tears. Please drink this. He mumbled softly as he made her drink water while rubbing her back. Why you did that? Wasn't it vicious for you? I was helpless. You were not. You did that, she mumbled, punching his chest. As he looked at her hand, which was red and burnt, and his heart is ready to come out, ripping his chest, as he regretted his every action by now. Jungkook rubbed her back gently, looking here and there as he gasped for some air, because he felt suffocated by his own actions. As he pulled her slowly in his embrace and slowly lifted her in his arms, while she cried, covering her face. I'm sorry, he whispered, kissing her forehead. While she hugged him tightly, she shut his eyes and she sobbed against his chest. I never wanted to break up with you. I was forced to, she cried, mumbling. They restricted me to meet you. They warned me if I meet you again, they will not let me continue my study. She confessed and he closed his eyes, hearing her. They locked me up in a room. How should I have contacted you? She mumbled. They snatched my phone and only gave me to end everything with you. She cried and he walked inside. I had to choose my career over you. Sorry. She sobbed, hugging him. Jungkook knelt down in front of her as he took her hands before applying ointments, as he blew, glancing at her while she looked like that she didn't feel any pain. Her eyes are swollen and red as he applied gently, making sure not to hurt her. I'm sorry, she whispered, and he stared at her for a while. You are sorry for what? He asked, and she looked away before looking at him. I'm sorry for I couldn't fight for our love. I couldn't fight for us. That time I thought it was right for both of us, she said, and he looked up. You thought it was right for us? He asked, and she nodded, pressing her lips. I thought we can focus on our career then. I accepted as our fate. I thought you were never mine. She whispered the last night. Jungkook stared at her for a while. Did those 5 years hurt? He asked and she nodded. More than I can imagine. She replied and he smiled painfully. Do you still love me? He asked and she pressed her lips together, nodding. I always did. I always do. I don't know what made you think Before she could complete, he put finger on her lips. He opened his arms for her as her breath hitched, and she is about to hug him, but something stopped her. As she watched and realized, he got up before hugging her tightly and kissing her forehead. I loved you only, he whispered while she closed her eyes. When I said I have no one in my life, is what I mean it. I never had anyone except you. I never looked at any other girl in my life. He whispered while she slowly wrapped her arms around him, clutching him tightly. But sometimes life has other plans. We all were so happy when you came to our life. Uncle. I thought everything will go well. Wine broke the hug as she listened to him, as his pain is clearly visible in his eyes. She was so small when I first held her. Uncle. And everyone was so happy, especially Hyung and Hyung. His lips trembled with pain while he was telling this. As he looked at her, I'm serious, Ryan. Our pain is nothing compared to that little one who lost her parents when she was only 1 month. He said with heavy throat while Ryan's heart swelled with pain. She didn't even learn anything. She didn't even know why she had lost that day. But all of us knew what great loss she had that day. He uttered as tears swelled up in his eyes as she held his hand. It wasn't enough. Young Sonam didn't even see her one last time, but he was devastated for his daughter. He took promise for me to take care of her, to give her all the love. His voice broke as Ryan wrapped his back. When I held those little fingers, that day I felt like she's my whole world. My little whole world who always made me smile when I wanted to be sad. Her smile never failed me to make me smile. Yeah, I'm her father, he said, smiling in pain. She is my daughter. I promised myself I will never back out from her responsibility. You don't know this is what you are saying me right now. I had to change myself for her. He mumbled with a painful grin. But I never realized I was hiding all those for her. I was never changed until you came back to me. He whispered as she pulled him in a hug, rubbing his back. You're really strong. I never thought you would be grown up like this. Sorry I wasn't there when you needed me. Jungkook hugged her back, closing his eyes. I'm always in your need. There is not a single day I missed you. I missed you each and every day. He whispered back. My family is really broken, Ryan. Since Hyung and Hyung Sonim left us, they all are pretending for our angel, he whispered. Ryan's eyes filled with tears as she kissed his back, gently holding her tears back as she kissed his shoulder, and he hugged her more tightly. I just cop up for everyone. It's been 4 months. He uttered and Ryan broke the hug as she poured water in a glass and made him drink. I'm sorry for not being there, she whispered, and he just nodded as he looked up. He stopped as he heard Jiu crying voice, and he instantly got up as Ryan noticed, and she does too. And Achuma and Mrs. John walked in the room with Jiu while she was crying as Jungkook quickly rushed to them. What happened to my princess? He murmured as he took Jiu in his arms. Jungkook checked once. I'm feeling like she has fever, she worriedly said, and when Jungkook checked and his eyes widened. Yes, she has, he murmured, and Ryan walked. Ryan checked it, she looked at Jungkook, and Jungkook looked at her with question, and Ryan wrapped Jiu carefully in blank. We should take her to hospital, he said, panicking when Ryan looked at him. Let me check first, don't worry, cold sponge will work, she mumbled. Can you please bring my stethoscope? Jungkook nodded while Ryan rocked her back. Ajuma, cold water and sponge, she said, and Ajuma nodded. Where is it, Ryan? He asked when she looked at him. Right there in my bag. It's on couch. He nodded as he rushed there and walked to bed. As he took out thermometer and checked her fever. And when Jungkook brought her stethoscope and Wine looked at thermometer. Is it high? By now his breath is uneven and Wine looked at him as she shook her head. It smiled, she said, and he still looks worried as she was crying constantly. Wine took the stethoscope before checking Gio's message on and Jungkook looks restless. She will be alright, it's nothing serious. I'm writing these medicines, please bring them. She said and Jungkook nodded when Wine took Gio in her arms. She hugged her while moving and mumbling soft words. Yeah, you'll be alright, my love. You'll be okay. She mumbled softly and Mrs. Kim brought cold water and sponge. Wine feeds her while doing cold sponge, as Mrs. Kim watched her while doing all this as she sings for her as well. After a while, Gio stopped crying as Wine gazed her face gently with a concerning look as she looks at Mrs. John, who kept staring at them. Auntie, you can sleep. I'm up for her. Also, Jungkook will come. She's alright. Don't worry. Auntie, you can trust me, she said with a assuring smile, and Mrs. John nodded. Her temperature is normal now. Still, I'll give her medicine, she said to assure her as Mrs. John nodded. Sure, dear. Let me know if you need anything. Wine nodded. Wine looks at you as she was drinking milk, looking at Wine with her doe eyes, and her eyes teared up as she kissed her forehead. You're a prize, right? You're an angel, baby, she mumbled as she kissed her forehead. I will love you with my all heart, my baby. I promise. I will never leave you, whether if your power accepts me or not. I'll be your mother. I'll give you all my love. You're my princess, she mumbled with tears as she hummed, making her smile. You're so adorable, she mumbled, smiling with tears. Ju smiled as she tried to touch Wine's face, and Wine held her little hands before touching her face, closing her eyes as she made baby sound, and Wine chuckled with tears. I love you, my love, Wine murmured, hugging her. Ju made sound, making her smile. Will you accept me as your mama? She muttered, and Gio started sucking her cheeks, making her giggle. Tickling baby, she muttered. Jungkook walked in, being all concerned and worried. I'm back, Angel. He stopped as soon as he spotted them hugging each other as Gio is on top of Ian, while Gio is sleeping peacefully. As he slowly walked to them with a fainted smile. As he checked Gio's temperature, it's normal now, and he took a relief as he kissed Gio's forehead, making her startle a little and sleep. As Jungkook's eyes widened, but he quickly patted her head gently, making her drift into sleep, and smiled. His gaze shifts to Ryan, who is sleeping peacefully, protectively, holding Jeon. And when he noticed a tear on her cheekbone, then he wiped gently as he leaned and pressed his lips on her forehead gently, as he tilted his head to admire them. My beautiful girl. You, me, and our daughter, he murmured, feeling dreamy as tears filled in his eyes, this time of happiness, as he pressed his lips together. I don't know whether you'll be ready to take this responsibility. I'm not sure, he murmured. I wish it's not just a dream, he murmured as he gasped, closing his eyes. Will she accept me with a daughter? He murmured. He stared at them for a while as he looked up. Young, I'm keeping all your promises, and by God grace giving parents love too. An empty space of mother, because I found my wifey back. I found my other half back. This time I'm not letting her go anywhere, no matter what, he murmured as he smiled, looking back at Wine, and he kissed her cheek slightly. If you couldn't fight, it's okay, but I'm happy you didn't give up on your love for me. Thank you for still loving me. Thank you for not giving my place to anyone else, he murmured. I'm blessed to have you in my life, he murmured, crossing his fingers as he sighed and put the medicine on the side table. He gently took Chew from her as he made her lay carefully and covered both of them with duvet. As he looked at Ryan's hand, which is still red, then he looked at her with pain and regret in his eyes as he kissed her palm. I have infinite memory of us. I can clear them. It was a stupidity, I accept. But now I am desperate to create new ones with you. We will create a lot of memories till we get old together, he muttered, scrunching his eyes. There's still a lot left. A small family. I want to have one more daughter with you. Cute and beautiful like you. Then I will be blessed having all my favorite women in my life. As he sighed, okay, I am doing all family planning and future planning alone. This should be our talk. And I will be holding you in my arms, laying under stars. You being my officially wife. It will be perfect date night and family planning. He chuckled at the end. It feels so real, like a dream which I desperately want to fulfill, he muttered. He wiped his tears as he got up and controlled hard on his emotion as he looked at the little mess created as he took all the things to settle them and he took her stethoscope as she looked at her with a smile. You really studied hard, my love. I'm so proud of you. He murmured as he took her things and opened her bag to place them back as he is about to close the chain. Then his eyes landed on a file, which looks like a report as he hesitantly took it out, glancing at Wine. As he read it carefully and looked at her, twitching his brows. When he remembered something as he took out his phone, enhanced message was there. As he opened it and he slowly sits on couch reading that, and he looked at Ryan, and tears were in his eyes. He closed his eyes as he dialed someone's number. Yes, in which hospital she is? He asked, and she nods and glanced at Ryan. Where is Songmin? He asked. Another line, he explained as he closed his eyes. Thanks for the information, Ann. Do you have any? He stopped as he glanced at Ryan. He got up and walked outside of the room. Ryan was looking for Jungkook while feeding Jiu as he's nowhere to see since last night, and she sighed as Jiu made sound grabbing her attention. And Ryan looked at her and smiled. Okay, finished? My good girl. Let's work quickly. She mumbled softly as Ryan rocked her back and Jiu burped into 3 pats. And Ryan smiled. Oh, my princess, now you're full and digested as well. Now sleep quickly. She muttered while Jiu giggled as she didn't look in the mood to sleep. Oh, so you're not sleepy at all. You wanna play, hmm? When Mrs. Kim walked in the living room, Ryan looked at her. Ajuma, she approached her. Yes, dear, she replied. Ajuma, I mean, Mr. John is nowhere to be seen. Do you know where he is? She asked, and Mrs. Kim looked at her. On work, I guess. He was in a hurry, and he left in early morning, around 4 o'clock. Ryan frowned. This early? She asked. Mrs. Kim nodded. When she again made sound to grab her attention, as she was not looking at her, Mrs. Kim smiled. She wants your attention, dear. Look at her. I see. But baby, you have to go for some urgent work, she said, and Jill made sound again by inside. She won't let you go. But I have to go, Juma. I have an urgent work. I don't want to leave this cutie, Ryan said, pouting, and Mrs. Kim smiled. So take her with you, she said, and Ryan's eyes widened. Can I do that? She asked. Mrs. Kim shrugged. Your wish? Ryan. Appa will put me behind bars for abducting his daughter, she said, giggling as she giggled with her. If you have taken the responsibility of being a mother, then take it responsibly. No father has courage to question a mother. She speaks out of blue as Wine smiles slowly fades. Auntie, when Mrs. John walked near her as she looked you in her arms who looked so happy. Yes, that's true. You are her mother. What you are doing for her is what a mother do for a child. And I see no difference, she said, and Wine's heartbeat raced. She needs a mother, whined she. And you can and you will be the one for her. You know what I mean. She said and answered her. Look how attached she got to you. Just like Jungkook. You both will be good parents. She said in her wet head. Please be my son's life mother. My little granddaughter will get mother's love. And trust me, she needs you both. Jungkook did everything as a father. Tried like to be his brother. Her voice broke. Jungkook been a great father for you after his brother. And I know he will not marry anyone else than you, because I am trying from past 3 years to make him ready to marry, but he hasn't even looked at anyone than you. You know that. Gio needs a mother too, no matter what he will do, but he can never fill the empty space of a mother. She said with so much emotion, and I stared. This little one has no fault, but she still suffered more than us. She muttered with broken voice when Wine looked at him. I accepted you as my daughter, Auntie. No matter if his father accepts me or not, but I promise to give her all my love. She said, looking at you with tears. He definitely will, because you are the one he determined to be with. Trust me. Wine stared her. I don't know what conflicts happen between you two, but he still loves you more than anything. Trust me. If he is happy being with you, then I don't have any problem. I want to see him happy because he is the only one I have now, she said as a tear slid from her. When Wine wiped her tears, I will talk to Jungkook. She mumbled with a shivering smile, and Jill giggled loudly, making their eyes widen as they chuckled with tears, and Wine kissed her forehead. Wine walked as her eyes searching for Ajuma, while she was hanging in front of her, sucking her own fingers. And she feared. I hope everything is okay. My Ajuma didn't contact me, she murmured, walking when she spotted Doctor. Doctor, she approached when Doctor looked at her and smiled. Oh, you're here? He uttered, and she gave him a small smile. Yes, Doctor, how is Oma? He smiled. She is all right now. She gained consciousness in morning. Ryan took relief. Can I meet her? She asked, and Doctor nodded while Wine smiled widely. Yeah, of course you can meet. I mean, there is someone who already came to meet her when she gained consciousness. He's there with her, I guess, since then. He said, and Wine frowned. Who, Opa? Did he came back? She asked, and Doctor shocked. I don't know, but some man. I told him to brought all the medicine, so he brought all the things. I guess. Wine smiled. It must be Opa, she said as she was about to walk. Who is this cutie with you? He asked, pinching her cheeks slightly, and Wine smiled, looking at her. She is my princess, my daughter. Doctor's eyes widened as he frowned. Daughter? Aren't you single, Wine? And Wine cuts him off. I will discuss this later. I shall meet her first, she said, smiling in happiness, and Doctor nodded. Sure, he said as she smiled. She walked. She spotted Ajuma as she walked towards her, smiling, and Ajuma looking at her. Oh, you came? She said, and Wine smiled. Ajuma, can you hold her for a while? I'll go and meet Oma, she said, handing Gio, who was playing, and Ajuma looked at her, smiling. Whose baby is this, Wine? She asked, and Wine smiled. I will tell you later. Also, I want to meet Oma. Opa also came, right? She said, smiling in happiness as Ajuma frowned. Yeah, he reached home, but okay, I'll go and come back quickly, she said, walking without letting her complete, and Ajuma sighed as she smiled. Wine opened the door as she smiled, as she spotted her mother was talking to someone who was back facing her. And her mother gazed shifts to Wine, and she smiled at her. And Wine's eyes filled with tears. Amma, she murmured, as her gaze shifts to the person, and she smiled, looking at him. He was feeding her. Pa, she murmured as she walked towards. She came, she murmured as he looked back at her, and her smile slowly faded as she spotted a more unexpected person, and she looked at him a bit shocked while he passed her a warm smile. Jungkook, she murmured, and he looked back at her mother as her mother smiled. Wine walked near her mother while glancing at Jungkook as she hugged her, mother closing her eyes while he got up smiling at her. As Wine broke the hug and kissed her mother's forehead. Thank God you're okay, she mumbled, and her mother kissed her head. Just because of you, she murmured in low voice, and she smiled, shaking her head with tears. That's my duty. You know, right? I can't live without you, she murmured, almost crying. And Jungkook smiled, looking at her. I know, and I'm sorry for everything I did, she murmured, and Wine shook her head as the tears slid from her eyes. She's alright now, don't cry. He speaks out of blue, and Wine's gaze shifted to him as she looked at him nervous. What are you doing here? She asked, wiping her tears, and he gently wiped her tears. He has been here only, dear. When I got consciousness, he is here, and he gave me medicine and all, she muttered, and Wine looked at him with as Jungkook just smiled. You both talk, I'll be back. He abruptly spoke as her mother nodded, and he walked out as Wine's eyes fixed on him until he disappears from her sight. Jungkook is a really good person, Wine. When her gaze shifts back to her mother as she takes seat and nodded. He is, she murmured, and her mother smiled with tears. You proved me wrong. You proved your Appa wrong, she muttered, and Wine looked down. You should be upset with us. We left you with no choice. Wine looked up and nodded with tears. Yes, I was. Her mother sighed. Forgive me, daughter, she murmured, and she looked away as her throat feels heavy. That's okay, Oma. Please don't be. It's past, I can't change, she muttered, and her mother sighed. That's true. As her mother looked at her. You know, I did that because of my experience. I told you focus on your career because that's what right is that time. I knew my ways were wrong and stick at times, but I never thought wrong for you. Also, Songmin thought same, she said weakly. Songmin is my son, but I trusted my daughter. I was so disappointed with your actions back then. But I guess you're now grown up enough to make decisions, isn't it? She nodded, yes. So what feels right for you right now? She asked, and Wine looked at her. I don't know. I don't know he will choose me or not. If he be able to trust me again or not. She murmured, and Wine's mom put her hand on her. I don't know why you feel like, but he's too soft for you. He will never say no to you. That's what I feel like, she muttered, and Wine looked at her. I know, Mom, but he's too fragile about relationship and about us. I know him. He used to trust me blindly. I broke that trust. Do you think I can regain that? She asked. Talk to him and you will know, she said. How should I talk to him? Then I want to come back in his life. What he will think about me, she replied with nervousness. I'm sure you don't want to lose him again. Wine shook her head. No, because I want him really bad, and you also. I can't leave you. Don't worry about me. I will be alright. I'm a strong woman. You know that. Yeah, getting a bit old, but yes, still. She said, and Wine smiled. You are a strong lady, I know that, she said, scrunching her nose, and her mother chuckled slightly. Go and talk to him first. I'll have some rest, she said, and Wine nodded. And yes, send Songmin. I want to talk to him. He was mad at me when we last talked, she murmured, and Wine furrowed. What happened between you two? She asked, and her mother sighed. Nothing. We just have a small fight. You go and send him. Wine gulped and nodded. She walked out when she spotted Songmin walking, and her eyes lit up a little as she rushed him over. She murmured, and Songmin stopped and looked at her. I have been calling you. Where have you been? He asked and she stared at him. You know, right? I had so many questions like you arranged a huge amount. Hope you didn't take any loan on company. It's already in debt. He muttered and Van's brows twitched slightly. You know I don't have any access anymore. Can you please tell me the reason? I needed money on urgency. You were not picking calls. Do you have any idea what I have gone through? Uma's condition was critical. She speaks with a rage and he shut his head. I told you I could have sell my shares so far. It wasn't a big deal. Songmin looked at her. Big deal? He chuckled mockingly. It is a big deal. You know how hard work someone did for it? He uttered bitterly and her brows were staring him. Do you have any idea what are you saying, Opa? She asked, being shocked, and he exhaled furiously. How could you have any idea when you never earned them? She stared him in total shock. Ufa, is money that important for you? From the woman who gave you this life. Is money more important than a human being's life? He looked away, remaining silent as there is a rage in his eyes. I wasn't asking for your shares. I was talking about mine. How is it yours? Have you even earned it? He yelled all of a sudden, making her flinch as her eyes filled with tears. What's your contribution building this company? What all you did? He asked with a rage and her breath hissed as her eyes filled with tears. You didn't done anything. How is your shares? How is it your rights? He asked in rage and she stared him unbelievably. It's not all yours too. Uma earned it all when you didn't even learn to walk. She bitterly said. So? He asked. How these things even coming in your mind in this situation when she was on that bed? She did a lot for you. How could you say that? She trusted you more than me. She listens to you more than me. How could you say even after all she always stands with you? What you said, she always heard. Just how? She bitterly said. Don't talk back when you don't know anything. She looked at him angrily. I know everything. It's just I don't want to say it right now. Because this is not the situation we should talk about it. It's about mother. Did she raise us? Did she earn us for this day? She angrily said. You told me that company is in debt. I understood all of it. I did everything but what you did. What you have done? She asked. I haven't done anything because I don't care. Did you hear that? He bitterly said. Her brows straightened. Aren't you ashamed of yourself saying that? She asked and he just stared at her with a rage. You know what you are? A failed son. He raised his voice. This is your masculinity. I'm ashamed to call you my brother. She bitterly said and he raised his hand which she held his wrist. Don't see me as old wine, Mr. Songman. She said, tightening her jaws when he greeted it. He jerked her hand harshly that she stumbled back. Someone held her as she looked at the person whose eyes are red. And he was looking at him angrily, and Songman's brows straightened. Looking at him, and he made Wine straight as Wine didn't look at him. So, you're back again, huh? He said, chuckling mockingly. And Jungkook walked angrily as he grabbed him by his collar, and Wine just looked away and didn't say anything. Yes, nightmare for you, right? He said, gritting teeth, and Songmin looked at him furiously. Get your hands off me before I break them. He replied with the same rage. Right, he challenged. Before he could do anything, he pinned him against a wall, stroking him as Wine's breath hissed. I swear I don't know what I will do with you today, he said in dark voice. Jungkook, please leave him, she said in pleading voice as he shifts his gaze to hers, but he stroked him more. Jungkook, leave my brother, she said, holding her tears when he jerked him off, leaving him on the floor before he could attack back. Jungkook smiles, hold him. As he walked near her, you still call him brother. Do you have any idea what he has done with you? He said with a rage. And she corrected her thought before speaking. That's my matter. I'll handle. Her thought hurts and he chuckled mockingly. Han. He called, maintaining eye contact with him. So, he extended some papers as Jungkook took and he held Wine's hand before putting them in her hand. Read this. Hopefully it will help. He whispered dangerously as she looked at the papers and then him. Trust is good, but not blind trust, he lastly said, softening his voice. Your brother was never in debt. His company? Sorry, my bad. Your company is performing really well, doing very good in terms. He said and Wine immediately looked at him. You had 70% shares in company, which your so-called brother transferred on his name. Your mother chosen you for director position after, but he stopped as if dead. But you and your mother have no rights on the company, nor on any assets, which he allegedly transferred onto his name. A lone tear escaped from her eyes. He knew he couldn't done it until you are alone. He looked at Songmin with a bloodshot in his eyes. You knew I am his biggest threat. That's why he made you all alone, he angrily said, clenching his fist. While Ryan was too shocked to process anything, as she looked at her brother and she could feel sting pain in her chest as Jungkook looked back at her, softening his gaze. As he held her shoulder gently when Ryan removed his hand, as he watched her, she walked near her brother, who was staring them with rage. Ryan, before he could say anything, a hard slap landed on his face, and Jungkook's brow straightened. Ryan, how could you raise your hand on your big brother? He angrily said. Why I should not when you forget who you are? Why I can't forget my limits? You are elder than me, but you don't have anything to call elder. You could have a little humanity left in yourself. If you have asked me once, I gave it all, but you couldn't have think about mother once, she said, feeling hurt. How you could put money over everything? Jungkook stared at her. You could have talked me once. Why all those lies? Why you pretended to be helpless when you were not? You knew what situation was. Still, how could you be so heartless? She angrily said. How I wish I could kill you with my own hands, she angrily said, and punching his chest multiple times. And while Jungkook walked as he held her hands, pulling her, you can't even call yourself human, you are worse, she yelled, and Jungkook tried to calm her down as Ryan pushed him. Leave me, she yelled, pushing him, and Jungkook stared her for a while. Jungkook walked near her and pulled her in his embrace, gazing her back, and she shut her eyes tightly before hugging him back. As she closed him tightly and softly licked a kid against his chest, and his heart clenched as Jungkook looked at Mr. Han before ordering him through his gaze. And Mr. Han nodded as they took Seongmin while he protested, and Jungkook hugged her tighter. She sobbed softly against him for a while, and tears fell in his eyes too, as Ryan broke the hug suddenly. Excuse me, she mumbled with heavy throat. Ryan. Before he could complete, she ran from there, wiping her tears, as he's about to follow her, but stops as he heard Jiu's voice. There she is crying, Ajuma said, and softening his gaze, he took Jiu in his arms as he rocked her back. Oh no, baby. But she cried more as he looked at Ajuma. Ajuma, please be with auntie, I'll be back, he said, and she nodded as Jungkook walked. Vine was sitting, resting her head on her knees as she was sniffing badly until someone sits beside her. And knowing the presence, she turned her face aside when she felt soft little hands on her cheeks as she slowly looked. It's you. In Jungkook's arms, she has soft, warm smile on her face. As soon as she recognized Ryan, Jiu made sound in excitement, making Jungkook smile slightly, and Ryan's gaze softened, looking at Jiu. She took Jiu in her arms, and Jungkook smiled slightly, looking at him. As Ryan hugged her like a baby and kissed her forehead. As she looked at Jiu, and Jiu tried to touch her face, making baby sound, and Ryan smiled in pain, looking at her. Oh, my baby, you are too fast to make her smile, he said, pinching Jiu's cheeks and whined. You know, princess, it's not easy to make her smile when she is crying. Jiu made sound and Ryan smiled, looking at Jiu as tears slides. Your choice is best as mine, I know. We have our heart on same person, my little princess, he said, smiling, and Ryan looked at him and Jungkook glanced at her. But we are not sure that person will keep our heart or throw them away, he uttered, kissing Jiu's cheeks. I think she will keep yours. I'm not sure about mine, he said, pretending, and Jiu made sound. Oh, you agreeing on it? Shit, I'm lucky. I wish I was lucky as you to get hold in her arms like you. Mine chuckled with tears and Jungkook looked at her widening eyes. Oh my. Did I make her smile? No, she chuckled. Aish, he said in amazement, and Mine looked at him, then Jiu. Maybe you know, you got a drama queen appa. He has more tantrums than you. She mumbled to Jiu and wiping her tears, and Jungkook smiled as he wrapped his one hand around her shoulder, pulling her closer. Maybe your mama. Mine's heart skips a beat as Jungkook gulped. Your Oma knows that those tantrums for your beautiful Oma, so she gave me more attention, he said softly, and Mine shifted her gaze to Jiu. And she knows that she is your mama. Still, she act like she heard something strange, he said, and Mine looked at him. Okay, let it be. If she didn't know it, let her know that. Come to me, baby. Jungkook took Jiu in his arms, and Jiu is sucking her hand. Jungkook looked at Vine, and she was looking down, playing with her hands, when he took her one hand in his intertwining. As Vine slowly looked at him, but he looked at Jiu. You know, maybe she can say no to me, but not you. I know. So let's ask her. As he shifts his gaze to Vine slowly, he was making Jiu stand his lap. Mama, will you marry my appa? He said, holding Jiu, and Vine chuckled with tears. Will you be my mama officially? You know I love you a lot. Jiu added sound, making this sound more beautiful as Jungkook giggled while saying, and Vine chuckled as her throat hurts. I know I'm in your heart, but will you give my appa a small space in your heart? He asked cutely when Vine took Jiu from his hands. As she directly looked in his eyes, then Jiu. Jiu, tell your appa I can't give him the space in my heart, she said, and Jungkook's smile slowly faded as his grip loosens, but Vine tightened the grip as she looked at him. He is all heart, his eyes filled with tears. Your appa knows that I'm incomplete without him, and he knows that too. I will never say no to him. Tears slides from his eyes. Jiu, please tell your appa that Oma is still sorry for everything. She can't change the past, but she promised that she will make future and present beautiful. He closed his eyes as Vine wiped his tears. Oma is grateful to have your appa in life. She loves him. This butterfly loves him. And she looked at you. Yes, she will marry your appa. I can never say no to him. Jungkook hugged her, snuggling face on his shoulder, and Vine smiled with tears as she kissed his back with one hand, while Jiu made sound in her lap. while he sobbed like a baby and Ryan controlled her tears as she patted his back for a while as he broke the hug and she kissed his forehead. I love you, he whispered and she looked at him. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for loving me, she said, and he kissed her forehead. Thank you. Thank you for accepting us, he whispered and Ryan smiled. Ryan looked at you. Your papa is one in millions, sweetheart. I hope you find a man like him. If not like him, then no one, she muttered, kissing her little hands, and Jungkook shook his head. My princess won't go anywhere. She will not leave Papa, he said, wiping his tears, and Ryan chuckled slightly. What do you mean she won't marry her future love? She asked, and Jungkook took Chiu in his arms, hugging her. She can marry, but she won't go anywhere. Her future partner will be resident son-in-law. He will live in our house. My daughter won't go anywhere. Ryan chuckled, shaking her head. My princess loves me a lot, he said, and Jiu made sound, and Ryan smiled. Yes, she does, she replied softly as Ryan looked down. As Jungkook looked at her, not more than her Amma, he said, and Ryan looked at him, smiling and tears. Jungkook pulled her more closer as he kissed her forehead, while Ryan rested her head on his shoulder. I'm here for you, for your family as well. Don't worry, he whispered. Ryan squeezed her eyes tightly as her tears slid, knowing that he knows what exactly she is feeling and worrying about. I love you, she whispered. I don't know how I'm going to tell this to Amma, she mumbled to herself, and Jungkook eyed on her. She knows most of it. Yet as she looked at him and he gives her a note to Aisha, and Ryan looked down with a guilt. How ungrateful she must be feeling, she muttered as the tears fell from her eyes, which she wiped. She's so grateful to have a daughter like you, he said, kissing her cheeks. And I'm her son, he lastly said, and Ryan looked at him with so much emotions as she hugged him and he kissed her back. Remember, her son as a son-in-law. Don't start calling me brother, he said, and Ryan chuckled with tears. As she broke the hug and looked at him smiling. You're my healer, you know that, she said, and he raised rose. With you, I have no worries, she added, and he took a deep breath and smiled. Well, thanks for these kind words. All I did is love you. Loving you is like breathing which I can't stop. She smiled. When her gaze shifts to Jiu, as she was not making any sound, and she checked her. She is sleeping, and Ryan smiled. Can I take her? She asked, and Jungkook nodded as he handed to her. Ryan took carefully in her lap as she admired her small features. She's really angel one, she mumbled softly, and Jungkook smiled. I know. Too precious, he replied, kissing her cheek softly. We will raise her with all love. Jungkook smiled and nodded. I am going to spoil her with my love. Ryan smiled. When Jiu smiled in sleep and they both smiled looking at her. She must be dreaming something about beautiful, Ryan murmured, and Jungkook nodded as Ryan looked at him. We will take your mom to our house as soon as she discharged. He speaks out of blue, and Ryan stared at him, widening her eyes a little. It's not easy as you think. I know my Uma. Why? He asked, twitching his brows. She has done everything alone ever since we were small. It's against her ethics. You don't know my mom, she said, and he raised brows. She won't say no to me. I know how to tackle, he replied confidently. Too confident of you? Jungkook smiled. Very much. I want her daughter's heart in one try. Might be it will take time more than you, but I will do it. He replied, and Wine smiled, shaking her head. Aren't you upset with her or me? She asked, and he looked at her. Some wise girls once said, past can't be changed, so why to ruin future and present? Wine smiled. You're a forgiver, she said out of blue. You have to be, when the person who hurts you and heals you is same. Wine nodded, gulping her lump down. Yes, she replied in whispers, and he pressed his lips on hers as she closed her eyes, and it was just a long pack. You can't leave me now. You are for me, from now to forever. She smiled, nodding. For every lifetime, she replied, you, me, and our 2 daughters. Wine nodded, looking at you. But her brows twisted as she instantly looked at him. 2 daughters? Am I missing something? She asked, being confused, and Jungkook bit her lips as he flicked her head. A future daughter. Wine stared at him for a while as her cheeks turned red. Our daughter? She mumbled with flushed cheeks, and he looked at her in intensity as he nodded. Our daughter, he replied in whispers, and Wine gulped as she felt suddenly her body heating up. There is an intense eye contact between them, but his phone rang suddenly, making him break the eye contact as she attended the call, looking in her eyes. Yes. Okay. He spoke on call as he got up. Let's go. He uttered, and Wine stared at him. She got up, carefully holding Jiu, and Jungkook took Jiu from her hand as she stared at him. And he is about to walk but stopped and looked at her. Don't look at me like that, as if you never thought about it. It has to happen, right, wifey? He whispered, and she stared at him as she bit her lips. You always been advanced, she muttered, being nervous, and he smiled and poked his cheeks as soon as she looked at him. But our focus will be Jiu, all right? He said, and he looked at Jiu. Let's discuss later, Butterfly. You will be flush red here only if I continued. He said, poking his cheeks. Anyways, it's only me who has always thought about our future, he said as he's about to walk. It's not you only, me too, I also want a daughter. She spoke suddenly in little high tone, and Jiu started crying, and she lowered her tone immediately, and Jungkook gave her a look as he rocked Jiu's back, where she cried a little loudly, and Wine took her in her arms. Oh, sorry, she murmured. Mama's really bad, she murmured, rocking her back, and Jungkook went close. Oh, hello. She murmured while crying, and Jungkook's eyes widened. I didn't realize as he looked at Wine. Did you hear that? He asked, and Wine looked at him until she heard Jiu's murmuring while crying. Wine's eyes widened, and she looked at her as Jiu was trying to touch her face while crying. She called you Mama, he said, smiling faintly, and a faint smile appears on Wine's face. Jiu slowly stopped crying as she started sucking Wine's cheeks, mumbling, and tears filled in Wine's eyes and Jungkook's too. Is she calling me Mama? Jungkook nodded, smiling widely. Yes, it's her first word, he said as he's still not able to believe it. Wine kissed her forehead as she hugged her tightly while Jiu kept mumbling, and Jungkook hugged both of them. My family, he whispered, and Wine smiled in tears. We are not having baby until she turns 5, at least, she said, smiling in happiness, and Jungkook closed his eyes. I love you.